What's going on, everybody? Robbie from USA Decon here. Today we have a real nasty one. This is in North Texas, up in Dallas, just north side of Dallas, and multiple victims, multiple homicides. In this one unit, there is blood and bullet holes everywhere. This is going to be quite the project. Small apartment. Just got done disinfecting the entire apartment, but the cleaning's still yet to come. Take a run and show you around here. Doesn't really show up on camera. There is no light at all in this apartment. I mean, literally, there's one light there, which does almost nothing. Luckily, I have this window here, but it's gonna get dark soon, so you see definitely some blood back here. You see all these 5-gallon buckets. These were for weed and other drugs. There's scales everywhere. You see some bullet holes there. They actually went outside the unit, which I'll show you in a little bit. Blood all the way up there, blood on the ceiling, blood on the door, all the way down. I wish I could get better lighting for you guys, but we're a little limited here today. These are footsteps. Baggies and a sealed pump. Bag sealer there. It's definitely a little drug house. You can see 6, 7, 8, and 9 counting bullets there. All these are bullet holes. Didn't see anything obvious in the kitchen, which is always a plus. Kitchens tend to have lots of nooks and crannies for blood to get into. Again, there's no light, but there is just blood all over the floor here. You can't, just specks of it. See, the bullets went through here. Drugs over there, look at this, 18, 19, 17 bullets, some change, more buckets, cutter, board. I don't know what kind of drugs you keep in a barrel like this. This must have been the female's room, which was tossed. Let's see if there's, again, no light. Can't really see back there. This back room. There it is. I knew there was another one. Follow the blood. See, this is what I can see throughout the apartment, but there's not enough light to see it really. This TV was left on, it was giving me some light. That's gonna be juicy under that bed there. That's definitely under the floor to the subframe. Hopefully not too much further than that. Some kid's poor PSP or whatever that thing is called is gonna be ruined. Bullet holes there. No bullet holes exiting this way. It's bullet 26, 25, 35. So there's, this was not a one and done, quick and easy. No, this was a serious gunfight here today. May have been some kind of preppers. No, in the bathroom, also good. I will give you guys updates as we go, but this is just the initial video documenting what we're doing here. All right.
Alright, so now that I've basically given you guys a solid overview of what the job entails, you can kind of watch me do the preliminary cleaning, and I can explain the story behind this job and what happened. It's all really some pretty crazy stuff. So, first of all, you can see me right here. We're using a proprietary solution to clean the initial part of the floor. We always try to clean the bathrooms first if they need it, so that way if we need to use the bathroom, we can. But the bathrooms were clean in this situation, at least of biohazard material anyway, so no worries there. So the second place we'd like to go is if there's any biohazard situations by the front door, which obviously there is. We like to clean that area so that we can go in and out for different tools or take phone calls, or for whatever reason we might need to leave, we can do so without tracking biohazard material in and out. And right outside the camera we do have a biohazard free station there to get changed and all that kind of stuff. So the reason why we clean the floor, even though we knew we were going to peel it up, is because sometimes the floors, when you peel them up, they get sticky, they get kind of stuck, you have to kind of yank on them. And when that happens, you don't want to get all that biohazard blood, brains, guts, skin, hair. You don't want to get all that stuff stuck on you. So down to the story of this job was actually pretty crazy. So obviously this was a drug house, or I showed you that. So we assumed initially this was just a pretty simple cut and dry drug deal gone bad, because that's usually what these situations are. Actually not the case at all. In this apartment there were 3 people living there, some maybe temporarily, some full-time, but there were 3 people living there. From what we understand, it was a father, a son, and the son's fiance / girlfriend. Well, I guess they were all in business together, and there was reports that the son was already a little bit unstable, a heavy drinker, heavy drug user, and had gone out in the apartment complex waving guns around before. So the security guards and the guys that patrolled the area. So they have 24/7 security on this property, 2 armed guards at all time. And the one that was actually on the call that night told me that they knew this guy was a threat. They watched this house pretty carefully anyway. But what we happened to find out upon speaking to him this day was that this was a family issue. Now what you can see here is me scraping the floors because some of that dead skin, hair, and brains really was just kind of it was real hot in Texas. This was over the summer. So some of that just really got hot and got sticky, and we really had to scrub to get it off. So the situation that we found from the security guard was basically this son, who we already knew, had some questionable gun-related activity on the property before this, came home, probably drunk from what we understand, and came home and found his dad and his girlfriend / fiance in bed together. So I don't think there's a lot of good ways to react to that. Not a situation I think I'll ever find myself in, but if something were like that to happen to me, that was a little piece of brain I was trying to show the camera, but I have it in super fast mode, so I think I'd probably react pretty similarly than he did. So he went throughout the house, and when he found them together, he had his gun already on him, and a gunfight ensued. Now, it looks like the woman, she didn't last very long. Looks like she was shot in the head in the back bedroom, and the bullet, of course, passed through her skull and into the wall, through the wall, and carried all her biohazard fluid, her brains, her skin, pieces, fragments of skull, inside the wall, which is why we had to cut it out, which you'll see here in a little bit. Now, one thing I do want to point out is under this door had like a metal, I don't really know what you call it, but door stop, and when you walk over, the door goes over. Well, it was metal and it was rusted, and there was little holes all in it, and the blood had gotten in there. So you can't see it on camera because it got real late, and like I mentioned, there was hardly any light. I did a lot of work in here actually with a flashlight during the day because there just was no light. Even with all the windows completely open, you just couldn't see hardly anything. There was no light in there at all. So we did end up having to pull that out. And I'm pulling, you see me here, I'm pulling up the floor to get under the baseboards. Because a lot of times the baseboards are the lowest part of the floor, especially on wall, on the where the weight of the wall is, the weight of the part, if they're supporting walls. So the blood will naturally follow gravity and go towards that direction. So I like to always check around the baseboards. And there really wasn't too bad there, but right in front of the door, of course, there was. So you see all this yellow stuff. That's mostly glue that's holding this vinyl down. But you can see, I mean, there's lots of blood and hair all mixed into that. So, yeah, but back to the story. We're not sure. One person was injured. We're not sure if it was the son or the father. One of them shot the other and ran around, or they might have, accidentally shot themselves. You never really can know. And here you can see me working with a flashlight again because it was just so dark in there. There was no light. And of course, where there is light, I'm creating a shadow where I'm trying to work, which when you're trying to be very detail oriented and make sure you get every molecule of biohazard material, it's hard with no light. So what you're seeing here is this is our proprietary indicator solution. So although you can obviously see blood in some of these places, but some places you cannot. I'm going to pause it here and kind of scroll back to that indicator. Basically what that is it shows us anywhere there's biohazard material, any solution, any anything. Oh, and you can see here under the door where I had taken that door trap out. But it shows us where maybe you can't see it. Maybe it's, you can't see it with your eye, but this indicator, it bubbles up white, and so we can see and we know we need to clean there, probably take the floor out. And so you can see after that, we go ahead and we got everything clean and we got all the biohazard material out, and then we seal the floors just for precaution. Now you couldn't see before, these walls and ceilings were covered in blood. So we went over those and cleaned them all. It was all down this hallway. This bed had blood all over. We cut all the bad parts out, and then we took the whole bed out anyway, but we don't want to carry the bed with biohazard material on it and get it on us. We cut that wall out because, like I said, there was fragments of her skull there, and we had to get in behind it, so we just cut the whole thing out, took all of that stuff out, the sheetrock and all the insulation. And there's just a little treat here. This is a little baggie of, we found lots of these. We probably found a ton of these, but we left them in the apartment. We put it all on the table, and we left it in a box for the property owners to deal with. We called the police, told them about it, the sheriff's department. They said they knew, so these were all over the place. And this was a crazy job in North Dallas. 2 homicides and a suicide. Because again, he shot the woman in the head in the back room, and then the father and son got in a gunfight, shot over 45 rounds between them. One of them was injured before they died and ran all around the apartment from the back to the front. And if you remember, there was some bullet holes in the beginning. I showed you that went out exterior to the building. This is the one bit of good news, is that the bullets they went through the wall, through the breezeway of the apartment, through another wall of the apartment's house, and into a child's bedroom, and into, what we're told, I didn't see this in person, but we're told it actually went into the child's bed frame, the headboard of the child's bed. But luckily, those neighbors were out of town that weekend. So a little bit of good news there, that no innocents, no kids, no one was hurt. That, I mean, you could say the woman was innocent, I guess, and it's not technically a crime to sleep with your son's fiance, but I don't know if I'd call them innocent. But no children were hurt. The neighbors weren't hurt, so a bit of good news there. And And so so like I said, someone was injured, and the son did end up killing the father and then killing himself. And this was a crazy job. You're only seeing about 10 minutes of cleaning for about probably 10, 15 hours. And there's not just me. I had a small group of a team working here. You can't get everything on video. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. Like, follow, share, do all this stuff for the YouTube algorithm to see more of this kind of stuff. We're going to keep these going, and you guys seem to like the Instagram channel, so we're going to start doing this on YouTube and show a process of kind of how we do things, how we clean these environments, and I hope you guys like it. Comment what you like, what you don't like. Comment what you would do in the situation. We're curious to see.